There are shows with psychics,
And there are shows with doctors.
but there's no show like The Psychic and the Doc.
Your practical paranormal power unleashed.
This show synthesizes the talents of world-class medium Mark Anthony, the psychic lawyer, psychic explorer,
And street smart spiritualist, behavioral psychologist, Dr. Pat Baccili. All subjects are on the table and no topic is taboo. Inspiration, insight.
action, and fun as Mark Anthony connects callers with loved ones in spirit.
In tandem with Dr. Pat's fresh, no-nonsense, street smart, intuitive insights. And she is hilarious.
Extraordinary problems
Require extraordinary solutions, which may come from this side
or the other side. This is The Psychic
and the Doc. And it starts now. All right, we are having a great time tonight, and welcome to The Psychic and the Doc. I'm Mark Anthony, the Psychic, and this is my amazing co-host, Dr. Pat Baccili, world-renowned psychologist and the founder of the Transformation Network. And you know, we have a very interesting show tonight.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It's entitled, Unlike King Tut, You Can Get Out of Your Rut. and we're laughing about that.
I'm laughing because I'm wearing like the Egyptian teal and gold and just throwing stuff on here and feeling my little Egypt. Boy, do you think he was in a rut? I mean, if anybody knows, you would know.
Yes. And the reason we're doing a King Tut theme is November 4th, which is tomorrow, is the 100th anniversary of the discovery of King Tut's tomb. Yeah. And it was the only tomb in the Valley of the Kings. He wasn't buried in a pyramid. He was buried in the Valley of the Kings. And his tomb was the only one that had not been plundered, and never before had anyone seen what they found in that tomb, the treasures, the history, the mystery. There were even 2 mummified fetuses in the tomb along with the king. And it created even more questions than it answered. And Dr. Pat has a very good question. Was he in a rut? Well, I'm just going to give a very short explanation because I've been interviewed. Egyptology is one of my passions, and the curse of King Tut, because after the tomb was open, it was rumored there was a curse that anyone who disturbed the peace of the pharaoh would be struck down. And many people, dozens of people, in fact, who entered the tomb died under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah. When that happens, I mean, you got to be a little shocked, right? I mean, we hear of stories like that. Now, the ones that I love, and like it just goes beyond coincidence. Let's just be clear. There are some things that are so coincidental, okay? Then there are things like, what is it? 3 of the actors in Poltergeist dying very, like, weirdly.
Yeah.
Like the young girl. I mean, so some of that, when you hear about it, you scratch your head and you say, wow. So what's your wow that you discovered with the king?
Well, he was definitely in a rut. Apparently he came to the throne when he was about 9 years old and died roughly 10 years later. He was somewhere around between 18 and 20 years old. And upon examination of his mummy, they found that he had a club foot. He had Kohler syndrome. This is recent DNA analysis.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Kohler syndrome was or is a disease where not enough blood gets to the bones in children. So he had a lot of physical deformity. There were traces of malaria and sickle cell anemia. And within the tomb, they found over 120 walking sticks of various sizes. So from the time this boy could walk, he needed a cane to help him walk. So he was in a tremendous amount of physical pain. But the mysteries get even more, Dr. Pat, because Egyptians believe the heart to be the most important organ in the body. And normally, and they didn't think the brain was important. They used to put this hook up the nose and yank the brain out in the mummification process. If you read about mummification, it's a fairly disgusting process, but at any rate, the heart was always taken out, wrapped up specially, and put back in. There's no heart in his mummy. Also, there's injuries to his leg. So there's speculation that maybe he died in an accident, like a chariot accident, because there was a lot of chariots also in his tomb. All the stuff that Egyptians like, particularly the kings, they put in the tomb, figuring, we think you can't take it with you. The Egyptians said you could. But there's also speculation that he may have been murdered. And so there's all these incredible mysteries that emerge from the tomb. And the thing is, we could spend the entire hour talking about this. And for people who are interested, please go to my website, because tomorrow I'm going to be on a podcast called Truth Be Told with host Tony Sweet out of LA. And he's also hosting the podcast, the Paranormal Podcast Awards in 2023. And I'm pretty sure the Psychic and the Doc may be in the running. But Tony and I do an entire show on the mysteries and on the suspected murder. And if you miss that, then on Tuesday, November 8th, I'll be on the Mallard Report. And you can find that at my website, afterlifefrequency.com. But there's a lot of mystery. Plus, this month's issue of Best Holistic Life magazine, and you get your free subscription at bestholisticlife.com. I wrote an article entitled How the Real Downton Abbey Led to the Curse of King Tut.
Okay, here we go. Now, let's just be very clear about a couple of things. Where is our fascination? Now, I think we have a fascination with King Tut. However, I, like so many other, Tut would still be in a rut without Nefertiti. So people want to know, what is the relationship to each other? She is a fascinating subject. What is the issue around her? What's the relationship of her? Akhenaten is who she was like, okay, what do you want to say? Married? I mean, was that even a word? Is that a word?
Yeah, well, they're married.
Akhenaten
was married to Nefertiti, who appears to have been King Tut's stepmother, because Akhenaten was Tutankhamun's father, and pharaohs typically had several wives.
Right.
We know, like Ramses the Great had like a couple hundred wives. And Nefertiti, she's for centuries, the standard of feminine beauty. In fact, I think the American, the Cosmetic Surgeon Society, Nefertiti is the logo. And I should have, if I knew we were going to talk about Nefertiti,
well, I have a hard time talking about Tut and not talking about her, because the mystery, and this is what I love about being people that are sitting here. I got to tell you, we have to do a whole show on this series that's on Prime. I don't want to talk about a lot today, but I want to just tell you, we have got to do a show on this television series called The Peripheral. That will blow your mind, because what we're talking about is, what's the question? What does everybody want to know about Tut? Oh, wait a minute. Why do we want to know if he was buried with her? This is like a giant question for people. Yeah. I mean, it's really fascinating, but isn't it fascinating because we are fascinated with this culture, with this era of time? I mean, what is this, 1370 BC, yes, or something like that? So much fascination about Egypt, that the hardest trips to cancel during COVID that caused people the most depression are the ones to Egypt. There were two, the ones to Egypt and the ones to Peru. What is fascination, Mark? What do you see from yourself? Because I know you are a scholar. You're all over it. And I would love to hear from the audience too, because today's show is really about King Tut and his rut. But that's what a lot of people are going through right now. And the bottom line is, Mark's going to tell you how Tut was in a rut. But we don't want you all to be out there. And this is a live call-in show today, 1-800-930-2819. So fascinated. What is it, Mark?
It is. Well, certainly there's the treasure aspect. I mean, this is Indiana Jones for real.
Oh my God, I
And
didn't even think of that.
The archaeologist that discovered him, he's one of my heroes, Howard Carter. And he couldn't stand reporters. He couldn't stand the media. He hated questions. He was obsessive. He probably, Dr. Pat, if you met him, you would probably be able to diagnose him as OCD. And the thing is, but that's what it took, because he succeeded where so many other archaeologists had failed.
Yeah.
And it took him 20 years. And then when I talk about Downton Abbey, his benefactor, the fifth Earl of Carnarvon, who lived at Highclere Castle in England, which is where they filmed Downton Abbey. So every time you watch Downton Abbey and you see that, big fancy manor house, well, that's actually Highclere Castle. And what's fascinating about it is BBC films all the scenes with the aristocrats upstairs, but the scenes with the help are done in a movie studio, TV studio. Why? Because it is rumored the Carnarvon family's private Egyptian collection is in the basement. So there's some ooh there too.
Totally believe it. I mean, our fascination doesn't stop with history. And we're going to go to the phones in a minute. But here's the reason I kind of alluded to, the Prime series, The Peripheral. First of all, I love the actress who's in it. But the fascination we have, let's talk about it. Out of all the movies Gal Gadot could do, Wonder Woman, the woman plays many things.
Oh, yeah, she does.
All the things, right? She snapped up the rights to Cleopatra.
Yep.
And so, more details to follow. But her original statement about it was she wanted to portray Cleopatra the way Cleopatra was, a master, at laying out strategies and navigation. I mean, and so that's going to be interesting. You see, we are in this world where we are now discovering chambers in the ancient pyramids, like a chamber that they're not even in yet. They're like, it's a giant room.
Yes.
And they don't even know, even with our technology, right?
There's two.
That's right. But they're like, oh, now.
Well, there's reasons for that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that when we come back, because we're going to go to the phones. But what are the reasons? I mean, if I am Egypt, let's say I'm Egypt, I would be a little bit nervous to have some people come in, start to knock down a bunch of walls.
Yeah.
To get to a chamber and not worry about the pyramids caving in. Maybe that's just me. See, because I think there are many chambers like that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And that's part of the allure, Dr. Pat.
Ooh.
It's the treasure.
Ooh.
It's the mystery. Egypt has always been a mystical, mysterious land with these giant monuments. I mean, its history is so long. There is almost as much time passed between the construction of the Great Pyramid and the burial of Tutankhamun than between the birth of Jesus and the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus.
Exactly.
And then after Tutankhamun, it's another 13 centuries before Cleopatra comes along. So by the time Jesus and the Roman Empire starts cranking up, Egypt is already over 3,000 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's this ancientness about them, and like other cultures, but I'd say even more with Egypt, they built such huge, impressive monuments that have withstood the test of time. So, and think about it. When Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered in 1922, the Art Deco movement in architecture was going on. All right, you take a look at Art Deco, you're going to see Egyptian stuff everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then Hollywood In 1932, they made the film The Mummy about a hyperactive mummified Boris Karloff running around, attacking people. So
That's
it
the classic, though.
it really is a classic. So it has always intrigued us, and the personalities and our own Bible stories are all interwoven.
Yeah,
You have Joseph being sold into slavery in Egypt by his brothers, and then using his psychic abilities, which on one hand the Bible says are against, but on the other hand the Bible's loaded with them. He interprets the dreams of Pharaoh about the seven hefty cows coming out of the Nile River, only to be devoured by the seven skinny cows, the seven fat ears of corn to be devoured by the seven skinny ears. And Pharaoh had this recurring dream, and none of his viziers or astrologers could interpret it, but the prisoner in his dungeon, Joseph, is brought to him and said, 7 years of plenty. Jesus and Mary and Joseph flee to Egypt to escape Herod. I mean, Egypt is mysterious, but it's also entwined in our belief systems and our cultures.
We have to reach out and get William Shatner, and some of the ancient astronaut theorists on the show. I mean, fabulous fascinations. I have never seen such a body of work presented to have you think twice. Now, everybody got to have your own opinion about what you believe. But honestly, I love when they debate. We're not going to debate any longer. We're going to take a really short break. Then we're going to turn this whole thing over to Jacob. We're going to bring on our callers, and we're going to see where the rut from Tut is in each and every one of you. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
These
we got to talk
real,
about the Tut.
well, we do. And the thing is, we can study them, look at their treasures, but I've been privileged to be in very close proximity to some of the things that Tutankhamun actually owned.
Oh my gosh.
Including the crown that he wore on a daily basis. Now, I couldn't touch it because it was in a glass case, but I was like this far away, and I got the most intense feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I mean, so many people have handled it since its discovery, but the point is, Dr. Pat, it no longer was an artifact. It became something that belonged to a very nervous, troubled teenager. Mm-hmm. And I felt such a deep sense of compassion. And it went from being an artifact to being a very human experience. And that's the thing about all these people is, yes, they may be historical figures, but they were living, breathing humans. Mm-hmm. They had health problems. They had family problems. A little boy who's thrust into the role of Pharaoh, who's physically disabled. And that was not something that was admired by the Egyptian army or his court. He was probably terrified most of his short life. Yeah. So that's what we talk about by being in a rut. And, let's reverse the curse. What do you say we go to some calls, Dr. Pat?
Go ahead, Jacob. It's all you.
Good. We've got CJ calling from Texas.
Awesome. Hi, CJ. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear. 10-4.
Loud and clear.
Gotcha. How can we help you
today?
Okay.
Will Mark, are you doing any readings?
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
All right, CJ. All right, hold on. Go ahead and ask your question. CJ, we have a limited amount of time. Let's get to it. Okay.
Okay, what are you getting from the other side?
Oh, that's a good one.
For me.
Got it.
All right. I'm getting a female energy coming through, and this woman, she was older. She could be on the mother. She's connected to you through your mother's side of the family. It doesn't have to be a mom, could be an aunt, or possibly even a grandmother. And what I'm getting with her is with her passing, it was relatively peaceful, but she had a lot of health issues. I'm going to spare the immense details because I know you want to get to the message. She said that, please forgive me, CJ. She said that you are your own worst enemy because you overthink everything. And you come up with a plan, and it's a sound plan, and then you pick at yourself instead of having faith in yourself and moving forward with it. And she's explaining to me that until you begin to have more self-confidence in your own abilities, that you're going to stay in this rut.
Wow.
And that's what she wants you to know.
Wow. Wow. What do you make of that?
Oh wow, I didn't expect it to relate to this the ret theme today.
I can't
But-
understand
Say that
what
again.
she's
I
saying.
didn't
I'm getting a
understand you.
feeling. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
just-
yeah,
go
she's
ahead.
way too loud. Jacob, can you bring her volume down a tad, please?
Yeah. Go ahead, CJ.
Okay, yeah. I'm suspecting this is someone I've heard from before.
Well, let me
Right,
ask you a
right.
question. Is the message something you've heard before?
Yes.
And
What
what
do
have you
you
done
call
about
that?
it?
What do you call that though? Because that's like one of your verifiable
Facts following the
facts.
message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mark, reoccurring message, someone else coming through. What do you make of that?
Well, that's just it. This is what her spirits, the people who love you that are in spirit, CJ, want you to know. And what happens, and I'm not being critical, this is an observation. You hyperanalyze, overanalyze, overthink everything, and then you obsess on, well, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? As opposed to listening to what the message is. Okay. And you need to listen to the message, start having more faith in yourself. You make a plan, follow through with it instead of torpedoing it, overthinking it, picking it apart and thinking, I can't, when you actually can.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to define a rut, by the way. CJ, let me just ask you a question. Mark, is it okay if I ask a question?
Sure, go right ahead.
There is one particular issue, correct? Like there's one thing, there's one specific thing that is, dare I use the word haunting after Halloween? It's really haunting you. There's one thing. What is that? You don't have to tell us, but just, can you identify that for yourself?
One thing that's haunting me?
There's one thing that
It's troubling.
And it feels like you're just out there asking everybody what to do, what do I do, what to do, what to do. Now, you don't have to share it on air, but it's either one or two things. They're probably related. That's causing you to question yourself, right? And isn't that the message, Mark?
Absolutely. That's what the message is. Yeah.
And sometimes when you call into a show like this, people think it's like a major thing. Like, should I move to Alaska? No, it's not always that. See, the idea of this topic today about a rut is we can be a rut in how we do not wash our dishes. And that's like a rut. Like when you're like got the dishes piled up and you're now used all your dishes and you got to use paper plates, that's a little rut. So just ponder if there's something in your life like that. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to take some time to think about it. It's going to hit you right in the forehead.
Yep. Thanks for calling in,
Thank you.
CJ. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, Jacob.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, next up we've got Sasha calling in from Georgia. Hey
Hi,
there,
Sasha. Welcome. Thank you, Jacob. Hi, Sasha.
Hi.
Welcome. Hi. Hey, how
Hey,
can we
son.
help you today?
I want to know if there is any family members on the other side that have a message for me.
Okay, that's a good question. All right, I'm getting a male energy coming through. Now, what's interesting about him, and may not be a family member. So when I open up to frequency, spirits are going to come forward. And I'm getting a guy, could possibly be on like the father, uncle level, but he seems like he may be on your generational level as well. And the thing that I'm getting with him, Sasha, is I'm feeling my throat swelling up. So he may have had some major issues with his lymph glands or his ability to breathe. I'm also getting a nauseated sensation, which is an indicator that he may have been having difficulty eating or holding down food prior to passing. But the nausea could possibly indicate a cancerous condition. And the more he's connecting with me, my whole body feels weak and worn out. So he was extremely ill with a very debilitating disease. It may have been cancer, but it could have been another disease that takes you a click down. And it seems like throughout the course of his life, the two of you had quite a bit of verbal communication. Like you guys would talk in person, talk on the phone. And I'm getting this sense, I don't know if you're on camera, can see, but I feel fingertips, his fingertips touching your fingertips very close to the time that he passed. It doesn't necessarily mean that you were holding his hand at the time he passed, but you may have visited him or been in close proximity prior to his passing. Do you recognize this person?
Yes, I think it's my kid's father, if he was on my level.
Okay, it's your child's father?
Yes.
Okay, let's see what he would like you to know. Did you used to smoke? Because he's talking about you breaking a bad habit, and I'm smelling cigarette smoke.
No, I don't smoke. I do burn like a lot of incense and sage.
Okay,
Yeah.
but he's talking about you breaking a bad habit. That doesn't necessarily mean the incense. Did you just try to break some kind of bad habit? Look, that's either a yes or a no. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
you need to think some more on that. There's a habit that you have that's not good for your health that you need to break.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Pat, what do you got?
I'm gonna come at you a different way. So take the word bad out of it. What are you trying to change about yourself and your life?
Well, I'm trying to be healthy and work out more.
Okay, so you're trying to let me just wrap it around your head in a little other way, right? So what you're doing is by saying be healthy, right? Exercise more, whatever you just said, right? That's like on your like a goal like you want to do, right? You want to do that.
Yes.
Okay, so the bad habit, if we were to put it in habit, is either procrastination, you got it, not taking time for yourself, not putting yourself first. See, these are, habit isn't an interesting word, but I know why Marky used it, because there's a pattern, and you have to break the pattern in order for you to allow yourself to take better care of yourself. How many people are you putting ahead of yourself right now?
A lot.
So that's what we're talking about. We got to talk about break that pattern, because you know, habit, pattern, they're all the same, but you got to break that pattern, because you are in an airplane right now, and all of a sudden you have hit turbulence, and when you hit turbulence, those masks come down. And the rule in the airplane is, it doesn't matter if you got your children, your spouse, your mother next to you. What did they tell you to do in the airplane?
Put the mask on the
Put
child
your
first.
mask on. No, put your mask on you first. See, this is the pattern you have to break.
Yeah.
You're taking oxygen, you're putting it on everybody else first, and there's none left for you.
Yes.
So tell me what you're going to do to really start to begin to change that pattern. You know, look, I don't take this lightly. It's to just take one step at a time. So tell me one thing you're going to do. And it could be as simple as, you know what, I don't know where I'm going to work out. I don't know, but I'm going to go online and I'm going to see what's available. What are you willing to do?
I'm going to start trying to put myself first.
Very good. I love that. That is a great answer. Now, you don't have to eat the whole thing at one time. Every day, do something small to start off. But then the second day, you have to do that thing you did the first day and something new the second day. And I want you to do it for 7 days. Now, trust me, I am not telling you on day one, go run a marathon. That may be, I got to buy my sneakers, right? You start on day one,
Yeah.
Day two, you add, and it's incremental. It's incremental. Okay?
Thank you.
That's the pattern. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
That
Sasha,
will
for
get you.
calling in.
That's going to get you out of the rut. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, we've got Denise calling in from Fort Lauderdale next. Hi there, Denise.
Hi, Denise. How are you?
Hey, Denise, you're on the air.
She's probably on the beach.
Hey
In
there,
Fort
Denise. Are you
Lauderdale,
there?
on the beach. Why don't we come back to Denise, Jacob?
Yeah, sounds good. Next
Good.
up, then we've got Barbara calling in from Poulsbo.
That's right around the corner from me. Hi,
That's-
Barbara.
Barbara, you're
Hey,
on the
Barbara.
air.
Hi, Mark. I can say we met a couple decades ago. East Westbrook.
Oh my gosh, Barbara, you just made my day.
My rut is I had a small stroke 6 months ago, and if there's a message from beyond, like from my dad, that I'm going the right way, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, let's Mark take over and see what happens here. Okay, Barbara.
Okay, hold on,
Okay.
Barbara. All right, so yeah, male energy coming through. Now, before we assume this is your dad, let me describe the gentleman that's coming through. It looks to me like he had male pattern baldness, like he still had hair around his ears and back of his head, but receded forehead. That's the gentleman who's coming through. Smart guy. He has intelligent eyes. I can see the intelligence that was reflected in his eyes. Looks like he wore bifocals. He could have been middle to late 60s, possibly early 70s when he died. And what I get with him is I'm getting this like that. So there was some labored breathing going on with him. And then it feels like someone, I get the sense of like someone reaching in, grabbing his heart and stopping it. Now, not that somebody reached in and grabbed his heart, but what this indicates is that this gentleman died abruptly from cardiopulmonary failure, but there were warning signs going on and he knew it was coming. Does this make any sense to you?
Yes. My dad was an attorney, and he did have thinning hair, and he had sarcoidosis. If you don't know what that is, it was in his lungs.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So
Yep.
we got your dad here. Let's see what he wants you to know. Fascinating. Now, when medical issues come through, Dr. Pat and I are very serious about this. You know, I may identify an issue, but I'm not giving advice. And you would have to check with your doctor. And I know that I'm tasting aspirin. Now, that may mean you're on aspirin therapy. Maybe you need to be, or maybe the message is you need to avoid aspirin. But I'm tasting a lot of aspirin. And what I'm getting from him in the aspirin may be symbolic that you appear to be, from his perspective, under some type of therapy that is bringing down the cholesterol and the fatty levels in your body and in your blood. And I'm feeling your vascular system is being treated much more kindly by you and by these treatments than it was prior to the stroke. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, all right. Now let's see. He said the pork chops have been thrown out the window. I don't mean to laugh, but that's just a weird way of putting it. Are you eating any pork, or have you stopped eating pork? But he said the pork chops have been thrown out the window.
I just started a ham bone bean soup. Literally.
That is the epitome. That is the epitome of throwing the pork chops out, because what you're that ham bone is what's left. Oh.
Okay, yes, that sounds tasty, but I think what Dad's saying is pork really should not be on the menu. Okay. All I do is transmit the messages, but that's why he's taking great care to transmit, bringing the fat levels in your body. Look, pork tastes great. If you want to tempt a vegetarian to not be a vegetarian, start waving some crispy bacon around. But the thing is, how many times have you heard a doctor say, you know, you really need to get more ham and Coca-Cola in your diet? You will never hear a respectable doctor, and I'm not crashing on the Coca-Cola company, let's say anything with high levels of high fructose corn syrup. All right, so what your dad's telling you,
We're gonna have to bleep that out of the
yeah, we're gonna have to bleep
recording.
that. Your dad said that you're treating yourself medically well. But he's concerned that you're starting to cheat now.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's the most important thing, because your recovery is the prognosis that I'm getting from the other side. You still have to go through your healthcare provider, is very good, but you must follow through on the dietary changes. Dr. Pat, what do you got?
Okay. I don't know that Mark is going to get a lot of sympathy from me on this, because I grew up with a Southern mom, and that pork bone with that fat and those beans in there, and then you got to throw some fat back in there to make it taste good. Okay. Now, the only thing I do want to say is, this something you eat every week or every month or once in a blue
No.
moon? Once in a blue
It's
moon,
a
right?
special.
It's special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm not a whole bit concerned about it. However, this is an interesting topic. The name of my upcoming book and an entire podcast series we're going to do, and every time I say this, I'm gonna make an announcement. It's called "You Just Ate Your Disease." That's what it's called.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I just have to tell you, I'm not saying that that's the pork.
Right. It was a very lean smoked bone.
Then I'm telling you, that probably wouldn't get in my stomach. But I wanted
Right.
to say to you, it doesn't sound like that's the complete thing that the message is about. There's something else. And I think that's what I want you to think about, because while I think Mark nailed it, there's something else. There's either something you stop doing, you're afraid to do. That's it. Okay. There's something you're afraid to do. And my heart goes out to you. You sound like you are well on your way to recovery.
Yeah.
But did you start to get afraid to do things after the stroke? Did you
Yes.
start to get afraid? Oh, that's it.
I
Okay.
started to get afraid of driving
Okay.
places I've never
Okay.
been, and I've
Okay.
never had that problem.
Okay. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say to you. And again, I want to tell you, you're going to talk to your doctor, but unless your doctor said to you, right, don't drive, you just want to stay in touch and make sure everything is being checked in you. Make sure everything
Yes.
is moving. Your circulation is moving, right?
Yeah.
But if I were to generalize and not be specific to you, when we have physical trauma, and I've had it in my life, we get afraid. So your job in the rut scenario, right, because this fits right in there, is to go get facts from your physicians, your naturopaths, your nutrition, get your facts and talk to them and find out, is this something I should be afraid of? Or is this, am I having a little PTSD because I'm afraid it's going to happen again? Do you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm
Yes,
saying?
I do.
Okay. Because I don't take anything you said or anything that happened to you lightly at all. And I love that you called in. And despite all of that, you are still cooking that pork bone. You go get them.
I just lost 50 pounds this year.
That's what I was
and
going
I'm
to
in a
ask you.
normal weight
That's what I was
range.
going to ask you. Okay, so that was the other thing that I was kind of beating around the bush about. When you lost the 50 pounds, do a check. How is your, what did Dr. Ronnie tell me the other day? How is your nutrient level? Have somebody test your nutrient level. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Nutrients.
Okay.
Like good parts of your blood. Where are they?
Right.
Why am I bringing it up? Because if I had Dr. Ronnie or Dr. Darvish on here today, Dr. Ronnie gave me a whole discourse on this 2 days ago, that when we don't get the right circulation going around in our body and our oxygen levels, when we put the little finger thing on, right, and we get a low oxygen, we have to be mindful of that, because we're not getting the oxygen to our brain, right? So the message from me to you, and I think for Mark, and is it's time to really check in and check yourself to make sure you're properly giving nutrients in your body. Now, we're not doctors, but what I want to say is anybody that loses 50 pounds has got to be checking on their nutrients. Congratulations.
Okay.
By the way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, I did it for me, for my health.
Oh, sister,
And
I'm
you
right
don't
there with
try
you.
to put yourself first. That's something my dad told me years ago, and I'm doing it now.
You got to do it.
Put it
All I'm saying is
first.
do your check-ins. How is my nutrients?
Yeah.
Am I got a little enough of the B? Do I have enough of the C? How about the D? Right? Okay. Can you just make sure you look, you want to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. That's the new you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we
Oh
are on a
my
roll.
Gosh,
I
am not gonna get that pork bone bean thing out of my system. And I got to give her a lot of credit because there is no way I'm putting a lean pork bone in that pot.
All right, I think you should have a watercress salad.
You had to know my mama. All right, where do we
I know
want to
those
go?
things
Where
taste
do we
good.
go?
All right, Jacob, who do we have next?
Yeah, I've got Denise back from Fort Lauderdale.
All right. Hi, Denise. Were you at the beach?
Am I at the beach?
Yeah, we wondered where you went. We thought maybe you went for a swim.
Well, I heard you, and then all of a sudden everything went off, and I was just listening to music.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Here.
How can we help you?
So am I. I have a question for Mark, if possible.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Well, right now I'm grieving. I'm in the grieving process. Only my friend hasn't passed away yet, but I'm extremely angry and extremely depressed. Of course, you know she's in hospice, and I see her constantly, and we've been friends for almost 40 years.
Oh boy, yeah.
But
I know
Okay.
that.
I mean, it's gotten so bad that I walked into work Monday and quit. Okay, so I couldn't handle being in work, couldn't handle being around people. I just want to
Okay.
know if somebody above can help me through this.
Well, it's not so much that they're going to be helping you through this. I mean, in a sense that they will. It's you've got to help you through this. And everything that you have described, both Dr. Pat and I have personally been through this. And it is not easy. And you know what? It's okay if you don't want to go into work. It's okay if you're angry. This is somebody that you love. And you got this. This is also survival mode for you. And you've got to do whatever it takes to get through this. Now, this is a fascinating message being transmitted to me from the afterlife frequency. I'm getting angels. And I'm not one of these psychics that just whips out angels and bunnies and butterflies. I only bring up things if it's transmitted to me. And I'm seeing angels, images of angels. Is there something about angels, images of angels? It could also be a name like Angela. And sometimes angels are one of my triggers for the name Michael because of Archangel Michael. But there is a lot of angelic energy around you. Go ahead.
Well, my mom collected angels. My mom passed away a while ago, and I still have, her little knickknacks were angels.
Perfect.
Angels of this, and angels sitting, and angels flying, and angels walking, and angels.
I got it.
Angels,
Got it.
yes. And
Denise, so hold on, Denise. So your question was, is somebody on the other side going to help me through this? And the message is you need to help yourself through this, but I'm going to help guide you. And that's your mom who's going to help you with this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Dr. Pat?
Here's what I want to say to you. Who's on your support team right now?
well, her ex-husband, her friends, but I'm there like all the time and just watching her when she's,
That's
crying out in pain.
That's okay. I'm with you 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I am telling you, first of all, let me honor you as a friend. let me just take this moment in a world where we do not talk about love and friendship enough. And I really want to honor you. What you have in this friendship is so special. I don't even have the words for it.
Yeah.
So let's start there. Now, here's what I'm going to say to you. I think you were not born in Fort Lauderdale. Am I correct with that?
New York.
Exactly.
Who knew?
How can you
I
tell?
knew, because I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. Here's what I want to say.
You know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I've been here 50 years and I still have an accent.
Trust me, I know. But here's what I know. Deep inside of you, there's a level of commitment, perseverance, and loyalty that's unprecedented. However, it could go to a fault. What I really am going to encourage you to do as soon as you can, you have to find someone close to you, not a professional. You have to find a professional or an organization that you can plug into now.
You mean like hospice?
No. Hospice is great. There are organizations, especially where you live, there are organizations and people that you can call and say, I am in grief. I need help.
Yeah.
You really need to think about that, because there are two
Okay.
things. There are two things I want to say. You obviously want to be there for your friend 150, 200%. It is hard to do that if you're not 150, 200% taking care of yourself. Okay? Anger,
Yes.
frustration, all of that. But please get to love. You can get mad later. Please get your heart to love. You can get mad later. You can spit at the moon, but get back to love and get somebody to help you through this grief. There are grief organizations. Please don't waste a minute, because if you do get that help, you'll be able to be completely, fully present.
Okay. I'm just,
Okay.
yeah, because I know I'm falling apart.
I know it. I hear it, and I can
and that's
actually feel
okay.
it. I can feel it. But you don't have to fall apart alone. And I don't know what it is, but there are those of us that just suck it up and we think we could do everything ourselves. And I'm telling you, this is not one of those times. And it's not a husband and it's not a sister. You have to find somebody outside of your circle that can really hear you. That's not going to say, oh,
Okay.
don't worry about that. Or you need to find somebody that's really going to listen to understand you. Can you please look into that?
Okay. I definitely will, because I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Exactly.
Yep.
Please, you've got to do something for yourself here.
And you know, Dr. Pat, I want to add, and this is for your benefit to the Denise. You took a very important first step by calling in.
Yeah, totally.
So thank you for calling in. And like I
Thanks
said,
to the mom. Thanks to the mom.
Yes, my
Thanks
mom,
to your mom.
and all her little angels. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Get one of the small angels. There's a small crystal angel, or it could be glass, and just carry it with you
Thank
through this
you.
whole ordeal. Put it in
I
your
was
purse,
just gonna
your
say something.
pocket.
That's it.
That's what your mom says, and that's like
Take
you
it
hold
with
on
you.
to your amplifier. So,
All right. Thank you. Wow.
all
You
right,
know
bless
what?
you.
Our hearts and prayers go out to you.
Thanks, Denise. Do we, Dr. Pat, do you think we have time for another
let's
call?
do,
Let's do it.
For sure. Jacob, please.
We've got Safina calling in from Vancouver, BC.
Thank you, Jacob. Hi, Safina, is it right? What a beautiful name. Hi, Safina.
Oh, hello. Oh, my goodness. My phone cut out for a moment. Hi.
I know. Hi.
Yeah, my question. Hi. My question is actually mediumship, and not to get a reading per se, but I was on the path. It kind of came up organically, and then I was doing kind of great on my own, never hung a shingle, anything like that. And then it left, but it's not, I don't feel abandoned. I've had miracles and synchronicities and amazing things, but I am in a rut. I don't know what to do next because it kind of, I don't know, it just left in that
Oh,
form.
this is good.
So
No, this is good. This is good. Mark, you want to go first?
Yeah, you know what? You're not supposed to be doing it, at least not at this point in your life. And because if you work, it's like a river that meanders towards you and it's watering your crops, and now it's retreated. I'm getting the Egyptian, like the Nile River. Okay, your crops are getting watered and now it's receding. And the reason is because you were given a taste of energy and energy healing, and your focus needs to be in application of energy healing and other means. And it could be Reiki, or it could be something along those lines. So basically, this is not your
Mark, that's amazing. Okay, that's amazing because that's what's coming up because my dog is sick and she's my love. I was relating with that last lady. I'm in anticipatory grief of the loss of my dog. Her name's Molly, and I'm already I've already sort of almost activated my hands to help her heal because I just feel helpless.
Yeah.
There you go.
There
So
it is.
see, you already had your answer. It just sometimes you need it kind of spelled out a bit, because when you're in it, it's like, I don't know. One of our producers, Rocky, calls it being in the eye of the cyclone. You know, there's all this turbulence going around, and you're like, well, what is it? So, Dr. Pat, what do you think about that?
What I think is great. The reason that you're being called to do this, and this is what I love about Reiki, it moves energy. And so you intuitively know that your sweet love needs to have a little kind Reiki energy movement. You see, you may not be able to heal, you may not be able to save the life, but the power of this healing modality, especially Reiki, moves energy. It creates peace. You see what I'm saying? So what if your pathway, just to throw it out there, what if your pathway was multidimensional? You know, what if psychic medium was part A, door number 1? What if energy healer was door number 2? You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not that it went away.
I do.
Right? It's a valley. So here's the deal with the valley. You ever been in a valley? So I love to be on a mountain. I love the mountains.
Right.
And so what I love to do is I go from mountain to mountain. But for me to get from this mountain to the other mountain, I got to go down the valley. And so you are maybe in the valley, because once I go down, right, and I'm in the valley, I get my energy back. I eat something good. I look at what I'm going to go. It's going to be a higher mountain, right? So down, and then I go up, and then I got to go down again, because then there's another valley. The valleys are not showstoppers. They're resting places. You see? It's a resting place.
Yeah.
Nothing left.
So I'm not in a rut. I'm in a resting place.
You're not in a rut. You're in the valley getting ready for the next mountain.
Trust your gut. You're not in a rut.
That's it. Trust your gut. You're not in a rut.
Metaphysical.
Yeah, I got to it is. Here's the other thing. You don't think you could be a multidimensional professional, correct?
Not a professional, but I already know I've got paranormal happening, stuff like that.
No,
I do have a block.
You got to change that. I am a multidimensional energy healer, psychic, whatever it is. You got to be in the I am, because see, that's called doubt. Doubt is insidious. It's like sulfuric acid on the heart.
Yeah.
You got to kick doubt in the butt. That's your rut. Doubt in the butt is your rut.
And with that note, we have to.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
And you know what?
You're going to be fine. And just so you know, I'm a Nefertiti fan. I'm in that group, not the Tut group.
Okay, yeah. See, that's what I was trying. I had to bring her in today in the show. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
do
thank
me a
you
favor,
for calling
call on her. Call on her to get you out of the valley. She knows how to get out of the valley.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. Mark, what a great show. Jacob.
We had a great show, and next week we will be taking calls from listeners, and we want people, it's Veterans Day, So for veterans, please
Yeah.
call in, and military families. Obviously, everyone's welcome to call in,
Yeah.
but we want to honor our men and women who have put their lives on the line so that we all have freedom. So
Yeah,
freedom
boy.
isn't free, and if you think it is, somebody's already paid for it with their lives. This is the Psychic and the Doc on the Transformation Network. I'm Mark Anthony with the amazing Dr. Pat, and we'll see all of you next week.
Thank you, Jacob, and everybody answering the phones.
Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning into the Psychic and the Doc with Mark Anthony and me, Dr. Pat Baccili, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Hey, look, come back next week so we can explore with you more of life's many challenges and learn from fascinating guests. And you know what? Even Mark and me. We'll connect you and discover insights from people in this life and from the afterlife. Extraordinary problems? Yeah, they do. They require extraordinary solutions. But step into the world of possibilities with us on the Psychic and the Doc. That's every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on TransformationTalkRadio.com. That's TransformationTalkRadio.com. And don't forget, we're also live face-to-face on Facebook.com, Transformation Talk Radio.